Welcome to the Everyday Tarot Podcast, your deep dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, intuitive tarot reader, and professional witch, and today I'm talking about tarot for Pisces season. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every Monday morning to check out the latest episode. If you love the show, the best way to support it for free is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. If you want to access the most up-to-date info on upcoming events, presentations, musings, and info and photos of my day-to-day life, my newsletter is a one-stop shop. I actually have a virtual event coming up soon if you'd like to spend more time with me. So you can join me and my witchy therapist colleague, Izzy, for an online 3-hour immersive experience for spiritual renewal and somatic embodied growth on the spring equinox. So this event will be Saturday, March 21st on the actual equinox. We'll be hosting it from 12 to 3 p.m. Pacific time. It will be a luxurious 3-hour mini retreat. We're going to go through all sorts of things. I can name some of them off. And so this will be sort of, as we enter into as we exit Pisces season and move into kind of the beginning of the zodiac season again, back into Aries. So some things you can expect at the retreat are grounding practices, guided meditations, a seasonal astrology update focused on the spring equinox, community connection and sharing circles, some gentle somatic movement to awaken energy and circulation, a collective tarot reading done by me, and spotlight individual tarot readings for select participants who want to do that. We'll all be doing reflection, journaling, and there's optional sharing. Izzy is practiced in Vedic astrology, and we'll also be doing some Ayurvedic teachings for seasonal alignment. We're going to actually do a deep guided yoga nidra visual meditation for manifestation, since again, the spring equinox kicks, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, March 21st, kicks off the beginning of the zodiac season, sort of the beginning of the astrological year. There'll be creative and expressive art practices to support intention setting, and then we'll all do a closing release ritual with guidance for completing the ritual at home. It'll be warm, welcoming space, guided rituals. We'll lead you through grounding and embodiment practices. We always do some art. We always do tarot. Izzy does the astrological updates and Ayurvedic stuff. You'll get lots of integration practices to carry with you beyond the retreat and a recording of the retreat. And as this episode is coming out on March 16th, there are still spots available. So we would love to see you on Saturday virtually. When you sign up, you'll get the video link and any materials that we have to send you or anything that you need to bring. And we're just so excited to see you there. We had been doing in-person full moon circles for kind of the last 6 months of 2025, and our lives have changed slightly. So we're going to try out an online event, which is fun because obviously a lot of my podcast audience and sort of audience I know from Instagram is unable to attend in-person events if you don't live near me in the Pacific Northwest. So this is your opportunity if you are you live further away from me to have a little mini retreat for the spring equinox, spend some time with two lovely witchy therapists and kind of just get grounded for the new astrological year. So Would love to see you there. The sign up will be in the show notes. If you are interested or know someone that might be a good fit to be a guest on the podcast, you can fill out my form linked in the show notes. I am recording with another guest next week. Very excited about that. And yeah, at this rate right now, I'm getting about a guest episode to put out every month. So that's been super fun. Have a variety of guests. My next guest is a therapist who's been listening to the podcast for a while now, and I'm so excited to chat with them as someone that's listened to the podcast and kind of get their perspective, as well as kind of, talk about tarot and therapy and all kinds of things. So you can always find the links for any of these offers in the show notes for each episode or on Patreon, in addition to the images of the cards I pull. Yeah, and if you ever, I'm getting better at actually editing video to put the card images in when I do pull cards. So if you're watching either on YouTube or on Spotify, you will see those. But if you're just listening to the podcast episode, I'm now publishing a blog basically for each episode where it's all of the show notes, all of the images, all of the references, all of the links, all together in sort of a blog format. And that is for free on Patreon. So you can head over there. So those are for all of the 2026 episodes. If you're ever listening to episodes from 2025, those are mostly linked in the blog on my website. You can go to my website, which is CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, and find kind of the blogs there for each episode. There's a search bar at the top if you're ever looking for a specific episode or card or title or anything like that. That's probably the easiest way to do it. But in 2026, those are going on Patreon. Yeah, and there are also options to support the podcast through Patreon. So the blog posts for each episode are free, and actually the episodes, you're able to listen to them on there as well. But I am like adding some more perks in. If you want to get a sticker for the podcast, you can join the lovers level on Patreon to get a sticker sent to you, mailed to you, special from me, because I have a bunch of stickers that I would love to send out. And there's lots of other perks as well. So check those out on Patreon. All right, long intro today, but let's get into the main discussion. So today I'm discussing tarot in Pisces season. So Pisces, as a zodiac sign, is called the visionary. It is ruled by Neptune, and the glyph, or sort of the zodiac symbol for Pisces, looks like two fish kissing or bound together by the tails. So yeah, when you see the glyph, it sort of looks like two fish pointing towards each other. If you see sort of more of the like constellation of it, it looks a little more abstract. But so Pisces season in 2026 is from February 18th. Fun fact, my birthday. So I am a cusp. Usually I am an Aquarius. When I was born, that was my sun sign. I was born in the afternoon on February 18th. But I am right on the edge of Pisces season kind of every year. So interesting fun fact there. So for this year in 2026, Pisces season is going from February 18th to March 20th. And on the 21st, we will enter Aries season, which again, Pisces is the last zodiac sign of the zodiac calendar, and Aries is the beginning. So if you join us on the equinox, we'll be talking about a lot of that spring Aries energy. Pisces is a little bit different, as you might know. So Pisces is associated with the 12th house in the zodiac houses. For its rulership, it is known for its psychic ability, the occult, and hidden places. The ruling sign for Pisces is the fish, associated with intuition. And the ruling planet, Neptune, is the planet of mysticism and illusion. So when we talk about tarot and the wheel of the year, so again, Pisces is at the end of kind of the astrological zodiac calendar, right? So the sign is Pisces. It is a mutable water. So fixed signs are, if you think of each season of the year, the spring, summer, fall, winter. So as an Aquarius, I am in the sort of winter season, and I am a fixed sign, which means I am in like the middle. So it goes right. Technically for winter is Capricorn, Aquarius in the middle, Pisces for the end. So Aquarius is considered a fixed sign because it is in the middle of the season of winter. Pisces is mutable. So it's a little more flexible, but also can be that a bit sort of like right, it's mutable. So if you think of water, right, it's considered a mutable water sign. But if you just think of water in general, right, water or a lot of liquids, if you pour them into different containers, they will sort of fill whatever space is available, right? That is that mutable quality, which is sort of that, like, if you are a Pisces or have a lot of Pisces in your chart, like, you might be very adaptable. You might be able to kind of fit in different places and different things, which can be a great benefit, but also means sometimes people don't have a great idea of like the core of who you are, because perhaps you are showing people what they want to see or whatever that is. It's a quality. And then the planetary ruler for Pisces I talked about is Neptune. And so Neptune also, right, Neptune is known for ruling kind of the water, the ocean in general. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But so when we get into major arcana cards that are associated with Pisces. So Pisces itself is associated with the Moon tarot card, which I think makes a lot of sense when we talk about kind of the qualities. So I will get into that. And then we also have the Hanged Man, which is associated with Neptune, which is again the planetary ruler of Pisces. So we kind of have both of these as the major arcana cards. So for the Moon, for Pisces itself, I'm going to read a bit from Tarot and Astrology by Corinne Kenner. Enhance your readings with the wisdom of the zodiac. And this book is informing a lot of this whole series of zodiac and tarot cards because it has a lot of this information in it. Pisces is often said to be the most mystical sign of the zodiac. While most people live entirely on the dry land of observable reality, the Pisces fish are equally comfortable swimming through the deep waters of intuition and spiritual transformation. On land, Pisces can be restless, changeable, and self-destructive. In water, its energy flows in more appropriate channels. It becomes adventurous, imaginative, creative, and artistic. These otherworldly qualities are reflected in the Pisces card of the moon, and they're fully expressed in the goddess on the card. Like the moon, Pisces is changeable, right? That's that mutable quality of Pisces. Finding my spot again here. It is sensitive, compassionate, selfless, and intuitive. And, right, if we kind of look at more the negative, perhaps traits of Pisces, it can also be restless, can be self-destructive, can be self-pitying, and secretive. So throughout myth and history, the moon card, or in general, has usually been a feminine symbol since it reflects the light of the sun. The sun is often perceived as a mate or companion to the moon, and the moon is sort of perceived in the same way. The moon is also the Earth's companion, a partner in time and space, right? The moon has different things with our gravitational pull, and the moon reveals herself in bits and pieces, right? Like the moon, our view of the moon is always changing. That's the moon or the lunar cycle, and she hides the dark side of her nature. So in tarot, the moon card is associated with the Greek goddess Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. The Romans knew her as Diana. Her hounds accompanied her as she chased playfully through the skies with her twin brother Apollo, god of the sun. So again, we get this sort of like dichotomy of Artemis or Diana being associated with the moon, and then their brother Apollo associated with the sun. We kind of have both sides of this here. In her role as hunter, Artemis could take life cleanly and without reservation. She wasn't a goddess of death, however. She was a goddess of childbirth, and she was dedicated to shepherding new life into the world. Immediately after she was born, she helped deliver her own twin brother. In ancient Greece, women in labor would cry out to Artemis for relief. They believed that she could either kill their pain or kill them to end the suffering. The moon also represents the changing nature of existence and the cycles of our lives. It moves through all the signs every month, and it's actually full in each sign once a year. Because the lunar and solar calendars aren't perfectly synced, the moon makes a complete orbit around the Earth every 28 days and catches up with the sun every 30 days. So this is why sort of the Gregorian calendar, which is the sort of January through December, January's beginning, December's end calendar, is slightly, right? It's always changing or separate from the sort of lunar calendar of 28-day cycles. And when we have 28-day cycles, then you get an extra. So we have 13 moon cycles a year in that way. The moon symbolizes fertility and creativity because its 28-day cycles are typical of most women's monthly cycles. It's also linked to pregnancy and childbirth because its phases so clearly match the pregnant female form. Slim, then round and full, then slim again, right? Sort of the changing of the body as well throughout pregnancy. The goddess on the Wizard's Tarot moon card, which they depict in this book, embodies all three forms of the triple goddess: maiden, mother, crone. Her figure is slim like a young woman's, however, her stomach is curvy and her breasts are full. She has either given birth recently or she's in the early stages of pregnancy. At the same time, her hair is silver, which suggests the wisdom and experience of the crone. Pisces is a water sign, and in astrology, just as in tarot, the element of water symbolizes emotional energy. The moon moves through those waters as it rules the ebb and flow of the tides. Pisces is the 12th sign. It rules the 12th house of the zodiac, where astrologers look for information about our deepest, darkest secrets and desires, all submerged in the water of memories, dreams, and reflections. Pisces, in turn, is ruled by Neptune, the planet of mystery and illusion. In tarot, Neptune corresponds to the Hanged Man, which I'll talk more about in a moment, the visionary whose body exists in suspended animation, freeing his spirit to travel through an alternate reality. The sun is in Pisces generally between about February 19th and March 20th. Like I said, for this year, it's February 18th through the 20th, but it just kind of slightly changes every year if you actually follow the lunar calendar. And the sun marks the third and final month, or this sign, right, Pisces, marks the third and final month of winter. So that's what I was talking about as well. So Aquarius is the middle, which is a fixed sign. And then Pisces is kind of the last bit of true winter season. Of course, that doesn't mean our weather always cooperates, but that is kind of the true winter season. Let's see. Yeah, and Pisces, oops, excuse my alarm there. It's a mutable sign, like I said, changeable and varied to ease the transition from one season to the next, right? So it helps us move from winter into spring. And it's also, again, interesting because if we think more of kind of like the wheel of the year or the seasons changing over time or the lunar calendar, right? Pisces also helps us transition from the end of sort of the astrological year into the new year. The Pisces glyph, again, looks like two fish tails. In Greek mythology, the two fish were Aphrodite and her son Eros. They turned into fish to escape the monster typhoon, and they tied their tails together to make sure they didn't lose each other. So again, we kind of have like this sort of like twin imagery, of course, like it's mother and son in that, but of sort of these like two sides of the same thing. Pisces rules the feet, the one part of the human form that's most in contact with the grounding qualities of earth, but always ready to wade into the watery realm of emotion. Very interesting. All right, so let's talk about the Hanged Man now and its association with the Neptune. So, the Hanged Man or Hanged One spends hours or even days suspended in trance like alternate reality. They are in perfect sync with Neptune, the planet of spiritual and psychic enlightenment. The Hanged Man's consciousness transcends the physical, just as Neptune itself seems to escape the ordinary bounds of physics. After all, the planet is composed mostly of ethereal mists and gases. It's a planet of dreamlike illusion, as well as an existence removed from the limitations of physical concerns. From that vantage point, mystical experiences come easily. Both Neptune and the Hanged One are associated with fantasy, imagination, and visionary art. They are idealistic, sensitive, and exceptionally psychic. Neither one is very good at establishing boundaries, right? That again is that mutable sort of quality. The real world can be a dark and dangerous place, and both the Hanged Man and the Neptunian spirit quickly learn to escape through meditation, prayer, sleep, and dreams. Occasionally, they may seek refuge in alcohol or drugs. Sometimes those substances are a form of self-medication in an effort to block the unsolicited psychic messages that flood the Neptunian soul. In a tarot reading, the Hanged Man card often represents a period of willing self-sacrifice and the suspension of everyday cares and concerns. It could suggest a retreat or a change in perspective. While most versions of the card show the Hanged Man upside down, he rarely seems to be in any pain or discomfort. Instead, he seems to be tuned into a higher consciousness, and it's a reward, not a punishment. In Roman mythology, Neptune was the god of the sea. He ruled the tides and the tide pools, as well as the dark, mysterious world of the ocean's depths. Seas would rise and fall at his command, and he could drown his opponents in an uncontrollable swell of unfathomably violent emotion. Neptune rules Pisces and the 12th house of the zodiac. Where astrologers look for secrets, it also rules the places where these secrets are confined and locked away: hospitals, prisons, and mental institutions. In medicine, Neptune is associated with mysterious illnesses and neuroses, and the Hanged Man corresponds to the element of water. All right, so let's get into the kind of court cards associated with Pisces. Finding my spot here. So we have, right, we talked about the major arcana cards. I'll talk about the court cards, and then we'll talk about the minor arcana cards. And the court cards are sort of the page, knight, queen, king, the members of a royal court. If you don't remember that. So again, we have the Knight of Cups, and associated with Pisces, and also the Queen of Wands. The Knight of Cups is associated with kind of the end of Aquarius season, February 9th through the 18th, and then moves into kind of the February through early March arena of Pisces season. And then the Queen of Wands, which I just sort of think of here. So the Knight of Cups, right, watery. We move from sort of the edge of Aquarius season, from Pisces of a water sign, into when we get to the end of Pisces season, we actually start moving into the Queen of Wands energy, which is that fiery energy, right? Like Aries season. So the way that these court cards also like help us transition into seasons is that you have one in the prior zodiac sign. So like I said, Aquarius ends the February 9th through 18th. Me and my birthday starts at the Knight of Cups actually. And then March 10th ends the Knight of Cups. season. And then the Queen of Wands starts to take over March 11th through 20th. And again, I just sort of think of like, okay, we're moving from that watery energy into fire energy. Again, moving from Pisces into Aries season. So that is there. Trying to see if there's anything else. Let's move into the minor arcana cards here. So we'll talk about each of those a bit. So for the minor arcana cards associated with Pisces, we have, again, of course, Cups cards. We have the 8 of Cups, the 9 of Cups, and the 10 of Cups. So the 8 of Cups is the February 19th through 28th association. It's in the first 0 degrees through 10 degrees. Of the deacon. So if you like know the astrology degrees, we again when we're in Knight of Cups time still at the end of that March 1st through 10th, we're associated with the 9 of Cups. Again, that water energy, we're kind of making our way through the Cups portion. And then March 11th through 20th, when we're in the third 20 degrees through 30 degrees decan of Pisces, we move into the sort of Queen of Wands and the 10 of Cups. So kind of that completion of the Cups minor arcana suit. The 8 of Cups, again, February 19th through 28th, is associated with Saturn. The 9 of Cups, excuse me, March 1st through 10th is associated with Jupiter. And the 10 of Cups, March 11th through 20th, starts to be associated with Mars, where again, we go back into, okay, now we're transitioning into fire season, fire energy, Aries, Mars, the Queen of Wands, all of those there. So it's also interesting to see how kind of the minor arcana cards, the major arcana, and the wheel of the year all sort of like fit together. And like I said, so Pisces is sort of the end of our zodiac year. I think I certainly feel this way where I've moved from trying to have like New Year's resolutions on January 1st to the sort of traditional Gregorian calendar way of doing things. And I really enjoy that still for the first kind of 3, zodiac seasons of the year of 2026, for example, I'm still sort of like in reflection, right? Winter is that sort of quieter, reflective time where we get to think about the prior year and what we enjoyed about it, what we maybe didn't, what we'd like to change for the following year. Kind of those, again, like New Year's resolution type of discussions. But I feel like it just takes longer. I'm not really ready to do it in December generally. Whereas now, and again, for me, my birthday's in February. So I actually start a lot of my plant seeds for gardening on my birthday in mid-February, because that's about, for me, 8 weeks from my last frost date, which is around April 20th. So that works well for a lot of plants that I start. This is like how I think about it. So I'm like, okay, we have January 1st. Yeah, we're in like full winter mode. We're in reflection. It's cold. It's dark. It's very dark where I live. We only get maybe about 8 hours of daylight in the winter, closest to winter solstice. And it's very gray and dreary here generally in winter. We don't usually get snow. We get rain and cloud cover. So it's just very like dark. And I'm already now, as we're in Pisces season, I'm like, oh yeah, it's way sunnier. Like the days are longer. It's so nice. So yeah, we have sort of Gregorian calendar New Year. We have reflective time. As it starts to get towards my birthday, I start thinking about, what things do I want to have in the garden this year? Looking at my year in review since my last birthday, thinking about that. And then moving into like, okay, right, after my birthday, we have the end of Pisces, or we have Pisces season, what we're talking about today. And sort of just in that like mutable time. I definitely feel that right now. I'm recording this at sort of the end of February. Like I said, I just had my birthday. I was out of town for a bit. And even that, at the end of it, we were supposed to leave and we got snowed in New York and couldn't leave. Like, it was a very mutable time where it was like, oh, you thought you were going to leave? Oh no, you don't get to control the weather. So we had to stay an extra 2 days, which was fine. But it definitely, forced me to sort of be like, okay, I guess I'm slowing down. I guess I'm not going back to work fully on Monday. I didn't have all my stuff on my computer, and I didn't necessarily want to just see therapy clients from a hotel room in another state for various reasons. So I sort of had to pull back and cancel things. So I feel like Pisces season is also kind of like that. It is this sort of like, we're going with the flow, right? Again, we think of the water, the mutability, the sort of like adaptability of Pisces, right? As sort of the generous side of Pisces, that the side that, right, is very like hopeful in that way. It's also kind of like, okay, like, what do we want to do this year before we get into Aries season, right? As we enter it on the equinox on March 21st, and we're like, now it's time to go. Usually for me, again, like mid-March, I'm like, all right, it's like actually getting into spring. It's like, actually, I'm going to have to really start. I'm like doing a lot of plant stuff then. Again, like for me as a gardener, like there's a lot going on. I'm planning trips for the summer, doing these different things. I really appreciate that Pisces, we get to just kind of be like, what to do? Like, let's see how it goes. We're getting like I said, it's a little bit brighter out. It's a little bit warmer out sometimes. We usually get like a false spring. I definitely feel that right now where I am. We got back and it's like 45 and degrees Fahrenheit and sunny. And I'm like starting to see plants come back to life. And I'm like, ooh, it's not quite time yet, but right, some things that are hardy in cooler weather are starting to come back now. Even just plants and the grass and other things are starting to come back to life, at least where I am. I know for a lot of folks, they still have snow this time of year. Like I said, I was just in New York and there was a lot of snow. But here we have a much more gradual like transition into warm weather. We get warm days, but we're still pretty rainy until July, honestly. So we have a long spring and then a sort of a short summer where I am in the Pacific Northwest. But anyway, so that's Pisces and tarot for today, tarot for Pisces season. If you want to sort of think about these, you can pull the cards I talked about: the Moon, the Hanged Man, the Knight of Cups, the Queen of Wands, and the 8, 9, 10 of Cups, and kind of sit with those and see what information they give you. I'm going to go ahead and grab a tarot deck and pull a card to see what additional information the cards have to share with us today before we end. And since I'm starting to feel a bit of that, springtime energy, starting to think about spring, I'm going to pull from the Herb Crafters Tarot by Letitia Guthrie and artwork by Joanna Powell Colbert. All right. So what messages does Pisces season have for us? Are there any clarifications regarding the tarot, regarding the wateriness, the mutability of Pisces to add to our discussion today? Anything else we're missing or need to know? Okay, well, I had some cards fall off. Let's see what those are. Okay. I had 3 cards fall out. I pulled the 2 of water, which would be like the 2 of cups, which is the mallow plant. I had the 6 of air, which would be like the 6 of swords, which is cattail. And then I had the emperor, which is hemlock in this deck, which I love the image for this. I'll put it up on the screen. And this is like Western hemlock, not poison hemlock. Okay, so let's look at these. So mallow is 2 of water. It says, let love in, soften dry and brittle wounds, welcome genuine connection. Marshmallow grows at the edge of a garden. The sturdy stalks, heavy with soft green leaves, reach up to the bright blue sky. The plant is covered with white flowers and delicate pink centers. We see a hummingbird suspended in air, nursing on the nectar. Another sips from a flower that has fallen into the stone fountain of Aphrodite that we see in this image. Aphrodite reminds us that vulnerability and sovereignty create relationships that are self-renewing. Allow yourself to be drawn in by what you love. Mallow attracts many pollinators, delightful hummingbirds among them. Lightness of being fosters an open heart. Growing tall in watery marshlands, so we have the wateriness, we have the edges of things, just like Pisces. We have Aphrodite that was mentioned as well in the Pisces description. Mallow shows that when we reach out with a gentle yet steadfast hand, harmonious union follows. Mallow root tea cools the pain of dry, brittle wounds. Take time to soften your sharp edges. Approach partnership with kindness and emotional stability, and you will experience mutuality. Perfect. Okay, so we have that. Right, we're our edges. Let's welcome genuine connection in. Let's move next to the 6 of air for cattail, which again would be like the 6 of swords. It says, question your assumptions, gain clarity through articulating your visions and writing, and support others in setting intentions for change. We see on the card a table in the afternoon sun covered in sheets of handmade paper for writing prayer petitions with friends. Cattails grow along the border of a nearby marsh. Again, crow, owl, and heron feathers are gathered in glasses, and a jar of walnut ink is open, ready to document devotions. Clarity can be found in the mire. Cattail, often seen as invasive, creates a stronger ecosystem by cleaning and purifying an area, making it more habitable for life. Open yourself to new ways to pray. Ask for help from your community when you need it. Adjust your expectations and challenge your current way of thinking. As cattail seeds are carried by the wind, trust spirit to carry your visions toward a greater good. Cattail is sometimes called the supermarket of the wild for its many uses, as food, shelter, clothing, fuel, and medicine. Be the resource of the spirit. Look for myriad ways to be of service to others in need. And I love that it talks about the supermarket of the wild, because it's almost that like cattail is also mutable, right? Like it also adapts to kind of whatever you need. Do you need food? Do you need shelter? Do you need clothing? Do you need fuel? Do you need medicine? And it's all of those things to different beings. Okay, and then finally we have the Emperor, Hemlock, a major arcana card. Okay, no. There we go. So, this card is about building strong boundaries. A sturdy structure supports abundant growth and owning your authority. It says, a square mandala lies on a wooden table. An 8-pointed star made of hemlock cones form the centerpiece. 4 small houses crafted of branches grow out of the star. Sprigs of hemlock separated by yellow rose petals adorn the top and bottom. Hemlock cones and tips formed an expansive rectangular framework around the piece, a strong foundation and a safe environment to build a solid future. Hemlock is ideal for framing houses because it is soft wood that toughens with age. Trust your boundaries. They may feel pliable at first, but they will strengthen over time. By creating the conditions for other plants to thrive, hemlock is an important part of a healthy ecosystem. Build a reliable scaffolding on which your sacred work can grow and step into leadership with confidence. And it says if you want to craft with this card, you can frame an altar with hemlock, place objects representing what you want to protect inside. You can drink vitamin-rich hemlock. This again is the evergreen conifer tree, not the dangerous herbaceous flowering plant poison hemlock. So we're talking about Tsuga heterophilia, the evergreen conifer hemlock. So make sure you're not drinking the poison hemlock. But if you want and you have access to the evergreen, you can make tea with it to support your body during intense creative or spiritual growth. And to embody the power of the hemlock, stand tall with your crown reaching to the sun and your roots firmly in the earth. I feel like this is a perfect representation of like moving from Pisces into Aries season, wrapping up the zodiac year, right? We have the sort of mutableness, the wateriness of the beginning card. We have the cattail that's sort of adaptable. And then we have the hemlock, which is like, okay, and now we have to be boundaried, right? Now it's okay to have structure, to have a solid future, to have a good foundation in order to kind of move forward through the next year's zodiac season with. Like, we have to have some limits or boundaries or framing for that, which often can look like resolutions or goals or things you're trying to achieve this year or do or not do. And that if you don't sort of create those or write them down or kind of have intentions there, we might still just kind of be in this like Pisces, Neptunian, like let's see how it goes. Which maybe that's what you need for this year, but I think a lot of times it's sort of like, okay, let's put some pen to paper and get some things down. And then, right, actually that allows us to recognize what have we accomplished, what didn't work, and then to move forward to how we want to, again, have a strong foundation and a safe environment to build a solid future. Very important. All right. Well, that was a bit of a longer one today. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I referenced the Tarot and Astrology book by Karine Kenner. We pulled from the Herb Crafters Tarot deck here. Yeah, so again, what to expect this year. You're getting weekly episodes published on Monday mornings. We're having guest episodes about once a month. Every episode will be on video, and you can check those out on Spotify and YouTube if you want to watch. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the podcast, please fill out the form to be a guest. That's in the show notes. Links for the decks I talk about are always in the show notes and on Patreon if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. And if you are interested, please, and available, please join us for our spring equinox mini retreat on March 21st, 12 to 3 p.m. Pacific time. The Eventbrite link will be in the show notes as well. And yeah, just thanks for joining me today on the Everyday Tarot podcast. See you next Monday morning to check out the next episode. You can email me, me@CamilleASaunders.com with your thoughts, questions, and more. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.